everyone, it's Margaret, and I'm here with these lovely people, and we're going to be talking about Big Hero 6 and Renegades tonight to wrap up Vaultathon. A big thank you to all of the people who came to... Oh, hold on. I forgot to mute this. There we go. I'm a professional. I do this on the regular. Anyways, we are going to be talking about Big Hero 6 and... what was the book? Renegades today, but I'm going to give these lovely people a chance to introduce themselves. Please forgive me if I go in and out. Apparently, my Wi-Fi is having issues, so we're going to do our best. All right, who wants to introduce themselves first?
I'll go.
Awesome.
I'm Christine. I'm from the other Christine that reads. I'm also from Canada, so I'm representing that.
You're representing adequate healthcare and
and a prime minister that does blackface, apparently.
No, at least he's not orange face.
I think blackface.
Yeah. Moving
on.
Okay. Chris, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Chris. I have a channel, Stardust Criticisms, and yeah, that's about it.
I am Brianna.
I'm Brianna. I'm from the channel Coffee Books and Bullet Journals, and I am from Utah, so not Canada, but it's cold enough to pretty much be.
See, I'm from
we've already had our first snow this week.
Oh my God. See, this is why I can't move any further north than the Florida-Georgia line, because I can't do snow.
It's really pretty right now because it's only on the mountains, but...
okay.
If I never saw snow again, my life would be happier.
I'm sure it's much harder when you have a dog.
I'm in Pennsylvania. It's still pretty warm here.
Oh, that's funny. Christine, you can
Pennsylvania's pretty.
It's heck here, but you could move to Florida and you'd be with me.
And then you get
so many things I can say about Florida. I can move to Georgia. I prefer Georgia.
I mean, have you seen
not as many hurricanes?
We meet in Savannah and stay there and never leave.
Okay, so I just would like to know, book and movie, who here is this your first time with it? Is this like a repeat for you? Like, what has your experience been with this thing? I want to know thoughts.
So, movie-wise, the Big Hero 6 is like my all-time favorite animated movie. So, like, definitely a rewatch for that. Although, like, even watching it, I was kind of critically watching it, I guess, because we were going to talk about it. And so I was like, oh, I forgot about that. So, but it is my first time reading Renegades. Not my first time reading Marissa Meyer. I have read a couple of her other books, but not this one yet.
Margaret's frozen.
So why don't you talk?
Okay, go. Yeah. So it was my first Marissa Meyer book. And it was not my first time seeing Big Hero 6. I saw it when it came in theaters. And I'm a big Marvel fan, so I'm surprised I haven't seen it more. But yeah, so first time reading Renegades, second time seeing Big Hero 6.
This was my second time reading Renegades and probably my fifth time seeing Big Hero 6.
Oh, Margaret's gone.
Now she's gone.
Oh no, we lost our host. Shoot.
What are we gonna do now?
Yeah, who's in charge? Oh.
Well, you said you were first, so.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm in charge until Margaret comes back. What do we do?
I'm back. We're changing things up, okay?
Thank God.
We were really worried about you for a minute.
All right, what did I miss?
Christine's in charge.
Okay. All right, so we were talking about the fact that Brianna, you have seen the movie before, and it was your first time reading Renegades. Christine, what was your answer for this?
I have never read Renegades, and I have seen Big Hero 6 twice now.
Twice. And what about you, Chris?
I didn't have any audio for a bit. Can you repeat the question, please?
Oh, okay. Have you, what is your experience? Like, is this your first time watching the movie or reading the book? I'm curious. How many times have you watched or read?
This is my second time reading the book, and I think my fifth time watching the movie.
I've watched it quite a few times as well. So there is that. All right. So initial thoughts on, let's start with the movie. What did y'all think? Christine doesn't like it. I don't know how we're friends.
No, I like the movie. You know what? One of my favorite things to explore in like children's media is always loss and grief. So I really, really love that aspect. Anytime a brother dies, it's too much for me. Like I shut off and die and then come back to life and suffer. So I love that aspect.
Yeah, it's hard to think about. I remember, hold on, I just realized that my computer's about to die, so we're plugging it in behind my bed. The first time I saw the movie, Tadashi comes on, and I'm like, oh, I like him. He's cool.
Right.
And then I lean over because I went to see it with my brother, and I'm like, he's dead. He's going to die. Like, we were 2 minutes into the movie, and I was like, he's going to die.
Yeah.
I hate it whenever
I remember the first time, because like I was like just in denial that he had actually died the first time I watched it.
Me too.
And so I was like, every time Baymax was like, Tadashi is here, and I was like, oh, he's coming back.
He's gonna come back. Yeah, not fair at all,
No.
honestly.
No. What about you, Chris? Ooh. We are getting a little bit of video, but no audio from you.
I have.
Oh, wow.
Yeah?
Maybe.
That's all right. I'm the golden oldie, I think, in this group. So, all right. So, do you have a favorite character from the movie? I think mine. I mean, like, I think we all are probably gonna say Aunt Cass because she's just.
That's who I am.
So right.
But you can't, like, you gotta love Baymax too. I love him so much. He's just so
him.
like.
I think
literal.
Hero
Right?
actually.
I want one.
Yeah, I do too. I need someone to tell me what to do when I'm feeling sad. Hero is a really good character. Like
I really just relate to like everything he went through, and even though I can't do math, so robotics is out of the question, I related to him.
Yeah. I didn't get any further than algebra and math, and part of that was by choice.
Yeah. So, no, math is smelly.
Yeah, math is not my favorite. Oh, we lost Chris. I
think one of my favorite characters. I think my favorite character might be Wasabi.
He is so like how relatable I find Wasabi is kind of scary.
I dropped Wasabi on my shirt one time.
And that's how the best nicknames come about, though.
Right?
Fred.
Fred's really annoying.
I was like, shut up. You're not even smart. Why are you here?
Right. Like if I was in that like in that group, I would just be like, oh my God. we all have that one friend where you're just like, stop talking.
It's like someone who isn't in history is in your history class and you're like, stop, honey.
Right?
What's going on?
That's funny. Has anyone noticed that, like, I noticed this last night, T.J. Miller's characters, like animated characters, are all the same.
It's because he has no range.
No, like they're all animated the same. Like that guy looks so much like he's fantastic as an actor. Because he does a great job as Tough Nut in the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. Fantastic character. Like,
aren't they like all the same? Like,
well, even if you look back at like the old Disney movies, like a lot of those are drawn the same.
Yeah.
And so it's just because like animating it is like takes so long that if they can pull from other things, then they're going to.
How to Train Your Dragon with Tough Nut is DreamWorks, and then this is Disney.
true.
So I'm like, I'm just interested, and it looks nothing like him. It's just interesting that they were very similar. Kind of that dumb knucklehead. Like, he does a great job as that character. Mildly more entertaining is Tough Nut because he has Rough Nut to like act against.
Right.
But still fun. So what were y'all's thoughts on Renegades?
What did I give it?
I gave it 5 stars because I love it. And I want to adopt all of them. They are all my children now.
Wait. No, they're my children. I already claimed them on
Honey,
my
I read
Goodreads
this before
review.
you did.
Yeah, but check my Goodreads review. I said I'm mothering Nova now. She's mine. You can have Adrian. Nova's the one that needs a parent. Adrian is already fine. Like, he's already perfect.
Honestly, like, Nova probably needs more than one parent. Honestly,
Okay, let's raise her together.
I'll move to Canada and we'll start raising Nova together. It'll be great.
She needs like 8 mothers.
Okay, can we just talk about the prologue for like 2 seconds?
Go ahead.
I did not realize that this book, because I didn't read a blurb. I didn't know what this book was about. I never listened to any of the reviews. So I'm like reading the prologue and I'm like, what am I reading? They just killed a baby.
I know.
That was a hard one for me. I was just like, as an older sibling, I'm just like
yes.
I don't actually, because again, when siblings die, I turn off. She's not dead. She'll come back in the 3rd one.
I wouldn't mind if that happened, honestly.
She didn't see her die. She saw her parents die. She didn't see Evie die.
Evie deserved better.
Yeah. No.
So
Evie will come back. I was convinced Evie was Max for a while. Then I was like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Like, they're the same age though. So it would have kind of made sense, but they would have found out because of the power.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like, what if Max is trans? And then that's Evie. Yeah.
Somehow I don't think Marissa Meyer puts that much rep in her books.
I'm doing everything I can to resurrect her in my head.
There's the tea. Marissa Meyer doesn't do rep.
I feel like a lot of it has to do with the fact, like, this has more than the Lunar Chronicles did. Just like noticing it.
I mean, Adrian's black, right?
Yeah, Adrian is black. His mom was black. I'm pretty sure Simon Westwood is not white. Because they talk about him having an olive skin tone. Simon Westwood is basically like Dick Grayson with invisibility. That's his basic personality. I was like,
Dick Grayson is fucking Superman?
Well, originally I was like, it's Batman if Batman and Superman got married and adopted a kid. But then I realized he has a sense of humor.
Isn't Dick Grayson the kid?
It's a popular ship. But then I realized he had a sense of humor, so it had to be so anyways, okay, so Chris's Wi-Fi is not working, so we will say goodbye to them for the time being. However, let's see. That was a prologue.
Oh, you really got me a new cup.
Oh,
Alex, you're the best.
For the fiance who brought Christine tea.
Yeah, Alex is wonderful.
Yeah, he's great. Is there another one of him?
Alex,
I'm in the market.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I have one
cloning
too.
yourself and sending that clone to Florida. He has a brother.
Yeah. He's not exactly me, but
We'll talk about that later. Okay. Favorite characters in this. Mine is definitely Nova, because she's just so, like, the fact that she has not broken despite everything that's happened to her, so strong. And she's so clever and inventive, and, like, I love her character arc between this book and, like, I don't remember a lot of book 2, so I won't be spoiling anything for this one, but, like, there are things I want to talk about that I realized in this book that I have things to say about. But anyways, go back to Nova. I just love her. Adrian is probably my second favorite. But that's the way it usually goes. My favorite is usually the main female character, the one I want to be, and then my other favorite is the one I want them to date. So
I disagree that Nova's not broken. I think she's my favorite too. I really relate to her because at her age, I was as angry, like fuming all the time. But I think she is like mentally ill and very traumatized.
I think she's definitely dealing with PTSD and trauma that she hasn't confronted yet.
Yeah.
But just the fact that she is still going.
She's a survivor. She's a fighter.
Yeah.
Like
I
she
love
didn't
her.
let it stop her, I guess. Not necessarily break her, but she didn't let it stop her. Like there's definitely some stuff that's broken inside that we need to fix.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, Adrian's just perfect. But yeah, I think Nova, because she's my daughter now, she's my favorite.
Yeah, I knew you would either really like Adrian or you'd really like Nova, just knowing your type when it comes to superheroes.
Oh, wonderful. But Nova needs learning.
Oh man.
Like, seriously.
Yeah, true facts. All right, Brianna, do you have a favorite?
I mean, like, to piggyback off of you guys, Nova is definitely my favorite character. I think, like, yeah, she's basically what you guys said. Like, she's very, very strong for what she endured as a young child.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, everything else that has happened to her in her life is, yeah, you know, I mean, yes, I think that she definitely has PTSD, but she's, like, not letting it consume her. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although, like, I think you can tell she doesn't want to be, like, a violent person, but she's letting it make herself violent.
Yeah. One of the things we'll get to that later, like, one of the things, I love how kind she is. Like, I don't agree with the anarchists at all. I do think that they have some points, but, like, I love the juxtaposition of her kindness against some of like the harshness of the Renegades. I like that. I like that she doesn't think twice about doing something because it is the right thing, which is why I think there's still hope for her, despite everything else.
There's definitely hope for her.
So, all right. Does anybody have a least favorite character from this book?
Yes.
Who is it?
You're gonna hate me. It's fucking Butterfly Lady.
Oh my god! No! Yeah!
Who walks in and she hasn't proven useful once.
Yes!
She's always in the hospital. Butterflies are a weak power.
Yes! I was like, what?
Her and she can't do anything.
What is this? Yes.
It's stupid.
There's a reason, like you already know. There's a reason for the butterflies. But it is. I feel like I like the. I'm she's not my favorite by any means. She's not really favorite by any means, but she's not my favorite. But I do think that like nobody notices butterflies. I think that was a clear thought process in like
except Nova.
Yes, but like he knows that now.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Nova doesn't always notice butterflies, Christine.
Well, she noticed before it was too late.
My least favorite character, and this goes back to my least favorite character in Batman being the Joker. I'm sorry, Chris, but if Chris is still watching, Winston Pratt. I just like.
See, I kind of liked him.
I mean, he's interesting,
but like in my defense, like I love the Joker.
I think
he's probably like one of my favorite characters in all of like any superhero. Like there's just so much complexity to that character.
See, I would argue that there is very little complexity to the Joker. He is just he's chaos in a human being.
I don't know. I think
I'm not watching the movie that they just put out because I feel like we already have enough dudes that have role models to look forward to that have like their modus operandi is violence against women, and that's the Joker. Like that's his basic. They think violence against women is a character trait. Now, if he were handled different in the comics, I might have different feelings about it. Like I love the Dark Knight Joker, not the Dark Knight. The yes, it is. The Batman Begins.
Yeah, Heath Ledger.
Yeah, Heath Ledger. I loved him as the Joker because he made the Joker interesting for me. But by and large, the way he's written, I feel like he's a little bit overhyped in DC, and they don't.
I think he's overhyped because of the Heath Ledger version. Like people don't separate the different portrayals.
That's part of it, but people also seem to think that the Joker is like a foil for Batman, and he isn't really. Like he is not the Dark Mirror of Bruce Wayne in any way. That's Hush. But that's not what we're here to get to. But I loved that the Joker analog in this book, we just throw him out of a balloon and then he's done and he stays in prison. Like that's what should happen with the Joker. But that's a whole different story. All right. Anything else about favorite character? We have Chris back. I think we've gone through me and Christine. Brianna, did you have a least favorite, or was it Dana as well?
Yeah, it is.
Fuck Dana. She can suck my dick.
She's not my favorite by any means, but that's partly because of like the next book, but also the reason she's so annoying is because she's right. Like she's right to be suspicious.
But her power sucks and she's weak. And I dislike her. And if you could choose between being Oscar and Dana, who have very similar powers.
Oscar,
like
right.
7 days a week.
Would not want to be Ruby though.
Well, after what we discussed. But before that, I would have taken it.
I've been thinking about that. Like, that's also the Twilight problem with Bella and Edward and like her blood smelling good. I'm just like, that makes a certain week of the month very awkward.
But Ruby still just like is a well-developed, good character. Like she loves her brothers. She has this like will they, won't they thing. What is Dana other than an insect?
I have a theory about why Dana is so underdeveloped, but we can't talk about that without getting into spoilers. So I'm going to say, did anybody have a favorite quote?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
So give me a second.
I will tell you mine, just because the opening line of this book is just so, like, there are great quotes. But
okay, I definitely did that one too.
We all did the same one.
No, I mean, I had another one, but that one was one of the ones that I tabbed. I was like, all right, cool. At least I have a quote.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch, but like we were all villains in the beginning.
It's so good.
Such an opening line, and I don't think I paid attention to it in the beginning.
I did. It's in my vlog. I was like, whoa.
I can't wait to see that.
Chris, bye.
Oh my God. Okay,
Bye, Chris.
Yeah, we're just gonna let Chris hang out, and if she can stick for a few minutes, I'll bring them back in. But like, if they can't, well, but like, I didn't notice it the first time. Again, I listened to this on audiobook the first time, but like reading it and knowing where we've gone in books 1 and 2, like that is such an amazing way to start this series.
Yeah.
So
I think it's like, I hope it ends that way too, because I think that the anarchists are villainous, the renegades are villainous, and like hopefully Nova and Adrian overcome both affiliations. Yeah. So I hope at the end of the series, it's like in the beginning we were villains, and now we are boning. That is my sincerest hope.
I'm gonna let my friends know that this one is not appropriate for children.
Wait, children are watching this?
Children are not watching, but my friend has been known to let her child watch while she watches. But I warn her when there are cuss words and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, I'm not really
in my video.
We didn't have a conversation about whether this was PG or not.
I like babies and adults.
I'm sorry. I usually warn people about that. But we haven't done any like really bad cuss words, so I think we're good. I'll just let Rachel. Anyway, Christine. There was no kissing in this book. That made me mad.
Right?
Like, I'm not in a place in my life right now where I can go through, like, I love slow burn, but I at least need there to be, like, I don't know, a random hallucination episode where they make out. That's a reference to Bones if you haven't watched that show. Okay, Brianna, did you have any other quotes that really struck you that you really wanted to?
There was one that I can't even remember who said it, but it was it was just so snarky and sassy, and I loved it. And it says, "What the people needed was to learn to take care of themselves. But that would never happen so long as superheroes were running things.
Nova.
There's Nova. That was Nova's point of view.
I was like, yes.
So I like that, but I also love superhero things so much that I was like, please don't step on my genre. But like, you're right.
Well, I feel like there's a difference between the superheroes running things like they are in this book and having someone like Batman or Superman or Winter Soldier. I'll throw him out there because you're here.
Maybe he doesn't even really have powers, but like, I'm thinking Magneto.
But there's a difference between having superheroes in the society and like having them to take care of the big stuff and then having them be the be all end all.
Like they really shouldn't be in charge of
the government,
anything that's like bureaucratic at all.
Right.
Yeah.
At all.
A lot of the times when I was reading through this, it reminded me of the show. Did you guys watch The Boys?
I have not watched it yet.
Not yet.
That was like some of the things that like because like that's all about like them trying to basically take over the world as these superheroes. And so it was like I was like trying not to like equate it and be like, oh, this is like this, and I was like, no, it's a different series.
Yeah,
they're very similar and like they're kind of set up with we're upset with how the actual
like the superheroes are not actually the good guys.
It's so X-Men-y, like with the whole Agent N thing and like all of it. It's so very much like X-Men, but I think that's good because X-Men explores really political themes. And I think that using superpowers as a way to explain privilege too can be really interesting. Yeah.
And I also think whenever you have something like powers that people have innately, you're going to come up against that question of, is there a way to neutralize them when you have someone who is so
deserves it?
Right. Yeah. So that leads into an interest since we're talking about the bureaucratic. So one of the interesting contrasts that I saw between Big Hero 6 and Renegades is that Big Hero 6 happens in what to our knowledge is a utopia, and then Renegades is very much a dystopian. And I was intrigued by the way those two settings kind of fed into the theme of both of those
Here's
two
my
different
question.
How do you see San Francisco as being a utopian though? Like, I guess I just didn't see that. I
kind of like it's this I mean, obviously, Hero sees a little bit of the seedy underbelly because he's doing the bot fighting and stuff, but you have this society where cultures have merged in a way that no one is challenging, no one is more important than others, like everyone is equal. And it's like this bright, like at least presented as this very bright, beautiful city that's at the height of like what it
tech and everything.
Yeah, like it's the best of kind of presented as the best that humanity can be almost.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It kind of scares me because it looked very crowded.
It did, but like.
Do you know how much space we have per person up in Canada?
A lot.
No, thank you.
That's because no one wants to live there. It's too cold.
You're from Utah.
Well, it's still too cold here.
It was just an interesting contrast for me against like Gatlin City, which is still very much rebuilding despite
That's like terrible though.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn my overhead light on 1 sec.
Okay. Well, while Christine is doing that, she has a Captain America plushie, so on. So, anyways, when she gets back, we're just waiting for Christine.
Hello, welcome.
I've been humming the Jeopardy theme for like 10 minutes.
Oh, why would you do that? And also, I wasn't gone for 10 minutes.
So how did you guys feel like the setting informed the two different stories that we had, even though they're still very much superhero genres?
Fear. I think fear was like a really big part of Renegades. Just fear in general, like motivated everybody, not just Nova nor Adrian, like the whole community. And I think you don't have that in Big Hero 6 because it was less about like how can we protect ourselves and how can It was more about like how can we make
Innovate, yeah.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Whenever I'm reading, especially like science fiction or fantasy type books, I am very like cinematic in my head, which is why I really like world. If a book can do world building, like it usually tends to do better for me. And when I was like reading this book, I just kind of read it as a very dark. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
just like the whole,
I feel that.
like the lights are turned down type of, like if you were gonna make this into a movie, it would have very dark DC themes.
Yeah,
There was like Nova walking around at night, and
right? Yeah, it's just like very, just very deep. I guess
the fact
I don't
that
know.
like
It's just
he could exist under this cathedral this whole time, and nobody's going to that cathedral.
Yeah. Well, it's basically a ruin at this point because I'm pretty sure they destroyed it in the Battle of Gatlin.
And they haven't rebuilt it or checked it out.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But any other thoughts on the setting? Because I have one other like kind of joint topic I want to cover, and then we're definitely going to be talking. We're just going to talk about Renegades because I have theories. I realized things reading this that I had not realized. Mind blown. Christine's probably going to think I'm stupid. All right, so
why me?
Because you've read Arch Enemies, and you're smarter than I am.
Thank you.
Have you, Margaret? Have you read Arch Enemies yet?
I have. It'll be a reread when I read it in October. I don't remember a lot of it, except for like the very end. But so I really like the fact with both of these things that the powers are a little bit less conventional, especially in Big Hero 6. But like the main powers are not like Superman.
Well, they don't have powers.
And the Flash. Yeah, they don't have
I mean, he's smart. Like, he's ridiculously smart. That's
it's like, oh, that's a joke you guys wouldn't get. Okay, so my university is like the engineering university in Canada where all the nerds go from like all around the world.
You literally go to nerd school.
I literally do. So I'm like, yeah, that's just like E7 where all the nerds are in the robot lab. Like, I know.
But I mean, like, if you think, I mean, what did he say? He graduated high school at 13. Like, that's.
We had a 12-year-old in engineering.
That's more power than any 12-year-old should have.
Right? And more stress.
Right? It's hard enough to do college as an adult.
Yeah,
I worry about children who are in academic settings at those ages.
Waterloo is literally that school, so it was. I understand.
I went to theater school, so if we had anyone like that at University of Florida, I didn't know about them.
I also just want to say that they're not as nice as they are in that movie. Those crazy robot nerds.
That's true.
No. So when you're doing history, you must be an idiot. I don't think.
Honey, history is how we keep from repeating the things that are happening right now.
I have a social life. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, listen, you can be one of those nerds and still have a social life because my brother does.
I don't know how.
They rank them at my school. Like, they rank who's doing the best, and they all hate each other. But yeah, it's insane.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what was your... Okay, I'm going to say my favorite, like, unconventional power is definitely Adrian's as Sketch. Just because, like, that's such an interesting power, and the way he uses it is so clever.
I would draw Sebastian Stan. Yeah, no, but like
life size and fully functional, right?
Oh yeah, fully functional. But you could do anything. You could do anything with his power. The stupidest power was Dana's.
I still think it's useful because, like, besides Nova, nobody else seems to notice that she exists when she's in swarm mode.
Okay, Margaret.
True.
I'll take any other power. You take Dana's power, and all I need is a cup to defeat you permanently. A cup and, like, one match.
I was watching her, and, like, she actually used it pretty effectively because she was able to do the swarm and then be in different places and attack from that place because she could reform in midair. She kicks Nova's butt that way.
Not with a cup.
Honestly, I would want Nova's power just because, like, those extra 8 hours would be nice. I would love to never be tired.
I would have
Right?
graduated high school at 13.
Right?
I'd already be published.
Precisely. And I'm always so tired. So can you imagine, like, even if you still had to sleep, just not being tired? Ever.
Right.
Be amazing.
I mean, I have always said that humans should just be able to like plug in like a phone.
Yeah.
Like, you charge a phone. You still use said phone when it's in charge mode. Like, why do we have to actually go to sleep and not do anything?
The future of humanity.
And no one even knows
electric
why.
car.
Like,
Right.
no one knows why we need sleep to function. They just know we do. They're just crazy.
Right.
All right, so
Freaking
we're
no
going
one.
to get to the biggest question that seems to so
The biggest
the
question.
biggest question of this entire thing is, who is Adrian's dad?
Phobia.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes, that's what I thought too.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know why that leads to like I went through the first one thinking that maybe she had that on her because she died, like because she because Phobia was the one that killed her, but then I realized that like if she was attached to Phobia in some way, maybe she kept that on her as a memento.
Or both.
Both. Well, I don't know because I don't remember.
Also, who else has been disguised this whole time?
I know,
Like-
we have not seen his face. There's a reason for that.
I
Right.
bet he's some like handsome black man, like stunningly gorgeous. But he's like, keep it hidden. I'm too hot. I can't deal with
But
it.
like I didn't question Adrian's parentage until I actually paid attention to what his mom says as his dad. I was like, that's a cover story. Like, we did it on a rooftop because adrenaline was high. That's a cover story.
I mean, it's possible, but yeah, no, it's definitely phobia.
I mean, that
And
definitely
even if they tell me it's not, it's phobia.
It's well, yeah.
like it's who his dad is going to be an important piece in Supernova. I guarantee you that.
He needs 3 dads. We've established these children all need parents.
I don't know if he's going to have 3 dads at the end of it, but I have a feeling that it's going to be a key piece.
Q's gonna like get killed.
So I hope not. I like you.
I don't.
Hi, Briar.
It's not my dog.
Oh, it's not your dog.
It's mine.
Briar of barking, like
That
Briar
was-
barks.
That was definitely mine.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you have a dog too. So while we're on the subject of Lady Indomitable, I made a connection this time around that I didn't make the first time around. That is in regards to Nova's parents' death. Because she was the one that was supposed to be watching over that section of the city.
Was she?
Yeah, she was. Like,
Yeah.
it's, if I can find it, there was a section where they were talking about the fact that she was the one that was supposed to be watching over that section of the city. And then they received a tip that one of the villains was planning a retaliation murder because some guy had been selling out their secrets. Mom volunteered to go stop it, but the next day she was found in an alley. I think his mom and her parents died on the same night.
So did...
Yeah?
Because I was questioning whether or not Ace had told the truth about the Renegades promising to protect Nova's family against the gangs if they didn't make weapons anymore. Which we'll need to circle back to her dad in a minute. But I realized that that might have been why either because it happened very close or it happened the same night.
Evie killed them. Evie killed Lady Indomitable because she's alive.
Because she's not dead.
Well, Max's parents were roaches and the gang that was going against,
Yes.
and Max was alive at that point.
I'm saying Max could be Evie.
That might be a stretch.
That might be a stretch. That might be
Watch her be right though.
Oh, wait. Okay, so Oscar died to get his powers, right? He died in the fire, kind of. Maybe that's how Evie got her powers. She was so fucking done with getting shot over superhero stuff that she just developed superpower sucking powers, and then was like, I was born male. Like, I'm a male in the inside. So Evie is Max.
I am so sorry, but I have a really good feeling that Evie is dead.
I'm pretty sure.
I just feel like Evie's gone, and I know this is a very near and dear subject to you, Christine, but I'm pretty sure Evie's dead. Just saying.
We never saw the body.
I
No.
mean, yeah.
You know what I really want to know is what was her dad? What was her dad making that was supposed to stop everything? Because they talk about it, but then we never see anything about it again. Like, it's not mentioned. And we have this bracelet that has this random stone that should be in it that is missing.
But that's in the second book.
Okay, never mind. I told you, I remember very little of the second book.
The hole gets filled in the second book.
Christine, did you have to do that in such a euphemistic way?
I don't know what you're talking about. Get your mind together.
The hole got filled.
I remember now. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Oh, okay.
But it still doesn't make sense.
It's still a worthy question.
Yeah.
What was her dad working on?
A bomb.
Do you think that'll be something that they'll address in the third one?
I hope so. Because like her dad had this great big plant that he felt was going to stop everything, and I'm like,
The bracelet's a motif. Like, they definitely need to resolve it.
Right. Well, yeah, no, that would be a huge hole if they didn't.
I'm not sure. I'm wondering which motif Christine is talking about.
Just like it keeps coming up, right? Like things.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
I have a theory about that, actually, because I realized she never takes that bracelet off. And Adrian knows about the bracelet.
She's a corpse. Have you ever read that story where, like, once she takes the necklace off, her head falls off?
That is not where I was going. I was thinking that,
Don't they use that in Game of Thrones, too?
Yeah, isn't that Melisandre?
Well, then she just becomes old. Like, very old.
That is not the connection that I made. I was thinking that, like, because I thought about it, like, she never takes it off. And so she's wearing it when she's insomnia, and she's wearing it when she's nightmare. And Adrian has come up against both of them.
But he's never.
So he's an idiot?
So what I'm saying,
he's an idiot.
What I'm saying is the way he's going to find out is that bracelet's going to slip out. That's how he's going to figure out that Nova is Nightmare. Is that bracelet's going to be shown. I'm sure she, like, covers it up some way, but she never takes it off.
That's a good, yeah. I mean, however, listen.
Here's the thing. Guys don't pay attention to jewelry.
What if when she takes off the bracelet, it turns out that she's like some kind of Jean Grey character? Because the next one's called Supernova. So she'll take off the bracelet and just boom and bring Evie back from the dead.
We're really trying here.
You're really so bad.
For her to be alive.
Well, I don't think Jean Grey actually had the power to resurrect
No, but
people.
she could have created a new one out of atoms.
Evie 2.0.
Yeah,
I would do that if I could.
It's so funny. You're hilarious, Christine. I'm just saying, it's a very distinctive bracelet. So
And the stone matters, obviously.
And he's also like paid enough attention to it to like draw, like what it like. I'm just saying. All right, so let's talk about because I think we really come up against this with Nova's story, like her kind of plays into Nova's story and why she hates the Renegades, but the limitations of superpowers. Like, you obviously, like, can't do everything. I think that's something that Adrian comes up against quite often in this novel.
Adrian can do everything.
Including
give himself new powers. What the fuck is he doing with only, like, 3 tattoos?
I mean, there's
like,
overpowered.
Every inch of my body will be tattooed now.
Then he'd have the problem of having to continue to hide it from his dad, so that would make it even more of an issue than it already
He can
is.
literally make his tattoo where he can make his dads not notice it.
True. But
Endless powers.
Yeah.
Endless.
I think we really come up against that, like, the way her dad built up superheroes for her and the fact that they can do anything and they're capable of doing anything. And I think that's where a lot of her, like, anger against them comes, because she feels they should be able to be everywhere at once and they can't. Like, even Captain Chromium cannot be everywhere at once.
But then she also hates them when they try to be everywhere at once. So she's just an angry being.
She just doesn't like superheroes. But I thought that was interesting, the way that it's kind of the limitation of superpowers is explored, especially through, like, the trials that they go through to get on the teams and having to be challenged and prove themselves that way.
And then when they, like, introduce the idea of removing powers, like, is the power what makes you a superhero?
That was a good. I like that she dropped that in there towards the end. Because I feel like they need that. In order for Gatlin society to move on, I feel like they will need that kind of, like, mentality that, like, you don't have to be a prodigy to be a hero, to do things, to make things work. So,
do we want Gatlin City to move on? I kind of think it should be stopped.
I think we need to shift the balance of power. I think we need to get the heroes out of the bureaucracy, as we mentioned before, and we need to put a mixture of people in control. It needs to be prodigies and non-prodigies working together to make an equal society. So, do you have any thoughts? I know you really liked the politics of this, Brianna.
I did. I think like part of it, at least like from like I said, I kind of skimmed the end of it because it was getting to Sunday and I've been in a slump. But I don't know, like I feel like we were talking about the limitations, but like also that like they were kind of relying on, like, it was never just like one superhero against another. Like there was like, you know, it was like Frostbite and Aftershock, and like it was like a bunch of them that were working together. Does that make sense? So we're like knowing the limitations, I guess, and not feeling like they can do everything. But sorry, that probably did not make any sense. But I'm like, wait, that didn't make sense.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. They feel like they can do anything because they have powers, and their powers make them better than everyone.
That's,
right. Like, that's an issue. Like, you're just as likely to be evil as to be a good person.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I definitely agree that like there definitely needs to be a shift in the power. And that's, I mean, hopefully we see that by the end of the series.
I hope so.
Right? But yeah, because otherwise, I mean, like, if you're in, you know, you're in power because you're part of the government, but then also that you have these super ability, whatever, like, that's, yeah.
And, like, they're in power. There's no, like, voting system. People don't have a say, it seems like, in who is controlling, like, who's in charge.
Literally invincible. Like, have these people never freaking read any African history? Do they know what happens when a man gets up, is like, I'm president for life? Well, what happens when that guy can't die? This is the Congo. They're fucked.
I do not know what you're referring to, but I'm sure you'll bring me.
I'm just saying.
Just saying.
This ain't no Democratic People's Republic of nothing.
But he can age, so I would think at some point he's going to end up dying of old age. Because it does talk about the fact that Captain Chromium has aged since the beginning.
So he still, like, can't get sick or anything, or just, like, nothing happened. So he's gonna live to, like, 112. Adrian will be dead. I'll be dead. Evie won't be dead. But
Evie will come back and kill Captain Chromium. It's fine.
Yes, because she's Max.
But if she's Max doesn't affect Captain Chromium, so there goes that theory.
Oh, dang it. Hold on. This
I'm
is
not the writer.
Okay, so speaking of bureaucracy, was really frustrating to see how willing people were to just follow and accept things, and yet at the same time, like, so true to the human experience.
I was just gonna say, like, that's something like I didn't really pick it up as being like a why are you doing this? Because same. Like if you just kind of see or this is just how it's always been, and B, it's working. Like it may not be great, but it's working.
I'm taking
better
care
than what came before.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
I'd be interested to see, like, the history. Like, is this, like, when she says that there were hundreds of years of prodigies being discriminated against, is she talking about hundreds of years, like, from our time from our time forward, or is she talking about hundreds of years before Gatlin, and that includes, like, ancient history?
Well, because they talked about people being burnt at the stake, so I'm
that's how I always read it as the behind. Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
hope
it's near future. Okay. Thoughts there?
What made suddenly so many more people develop powers? Like, if it was just like the odd witch burning back in the day, okay. But like now everyone's running around all powerful. Was it birth control pills in the water supply? I don't know.
What if it was maybe just simply technology? Like it was easier to be held, like to hide back in the day because you didn't have cell phones. And people being able to be like, oh, this person just scaled a wall like Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So like that, a lot of technology can just like completely. All right, so let's talk about Nova's trauma. Because that is interesting.
You mean when she mistakenly thought her sister died?
Okay, like, so she was like what, 5 when
she
that
was 6.
happened?
Yeah.
6. Okay, like imagine the trauma I mean, we'll forget about Evie for a second because she's not dead.
We're just talking about her parents' death. Like,
but yeah, like I mean, what 6-year-old can like go on to survive like watching their parents get shot in front of them?
It was her fault.
Yeah. Well, oh! I have a note. Keep talking.
She's got a note, guys.
But like that's just, I mean, like that scene. I was just like reading it, and you're like you're in that girl's mind, and you're just like,
it's heartbreaking,
right? Yeah. Like I'm like, no. I used a red tab for that one. And,
so oh my gosh, I didn't even tab this one. That's hilarious. And I still found it. So one of the things, like, she is so mad against the Renegades. It's so interesting that she blames them so completely. Like, she's definitely lived a sheltered existence. She hasn't had a lot to confront the anarchist mindset that she's had. I know this drives my friend Kier from Kier the Scrivener up the wall that she has not questioned this mindset. But I was reading... Brainwashed. Yeah, she was brainwashed.
She's not that intelligent.
I mean, she's smart enough to invent a whole bunch of stuff, but listen.
Yeah, but she's not like a critical thinker.
Right.
So on page 497, it's talking about, she goes, because of the Renegades, humanity was becoming weak and pathetic, as she had once been weak and pathetic, waiting in the darkness of that closet, listening as her sister's cries were silenced. I'm sorry, Christine. I didn't mean to bring that up, but...
Well, no, like, she did get shot, but she's not dead.
So... here's the thing, though, that I realized reading this. Nova's not actually mad at the Renegades. She's mad at herself for not doing it.
She's projecting. Absolutely.
Yeah, she's projecting. And it's so great.
I'm surprised her power isn't literally a projection screen. Like, girl.
Yes, that's so great.
Going back to that, like the thought of being like brainwashing and like how that could be perceived as a plot hole. I mean, I guess I, like you were saying, like it bugs some people. I didn't see it that way just because like I grew up in Texas where everyone's brainwashed.
Mhm.
I
I grew up in a conservative household. I understand.
Right.
Well, the thing is, we both grew up in conservative households, me and Kier. And
So did I. So did I.
Yeah. So I relate to Nova's experience because there is a lot I did not question until I was in my mid.
Went to college. Yeah.
Yeah. That even past college. Like there was still a lot that like even now I'm questioning stuff that I would not have questioned 3 years ago.
Right.
Do
Yeah.
you know how many Canadians think that America's the only racist country? We're like, no. We're not like them.
But like Kira's definitely one of those people that does question that stuff organically. Yeah. Like she does not have to be confronted with someone else's point of view to be like,
her IQ is like popping through the roof though. That girl's brilliant. Nova's not as smart as Kira. Kira's insane. She's so smart.
Even if she really likes sad books, I don't understand it.
But no, like she's also 16. Like
yeah.
No one's
I mean,
smart
were you questioning things at 16 years old?
No.
I was not. I definitely was not.
I wasn't.
At 16, I was like, is feminism necessary? Because I have a lot of opportunities.
Right.
Same.
And then it didn't occur to me till later that I'm like, oh, not everyone's me. Like, you're so dumb at 16.
It's funny because my mother agrees with a lot of the core tenets of feminism.
Yeah.
But she doesn't like feminism. It's like, it's okay.
Well, I mean, there are definitely outliers out there that like, kind of give everyone else a bad rap.
Well, I like for me, like feminism is like religion. Like I was talking with, like when I was in youth group, or leading youth group, I would talk about the kids. I was like, in Christianity, you have the people who are super apathetic and just say they are, and they're not actually doing anything. And you have the super crazy people that are really radical and problematic. Mm-hmm. And then you have everyone in between. And I was like, feminism is like that.
Yeah.
Like, so. All right.
Nova, but like same thing with Renegades and with Prodigies, and Nova can't. She only sees that one side.
Yeah, she only sees it because that's what all she wants to see. Because if she has to, like, if she admits that Captain Chromium and the Council are doing good things, or actually like their hearts are in the right place, she has to acknowledge the fact that Ace's theory was flawed.
But is Captain Chromie? I think he's a bad guy. Like, Agent N is despicable.
I think it is. I do. But I also think that, like, just coming from a very militaristic country, sometimes we justify things saying it's for the greater good, it's going to help people, and we don't actually think about the fact that, that's, maybe we shouldn't drop that bomb on this completely.
Like, tell me a time your military. Never mind.
I just said it. Like Nagasaki.
Give me an example of when that was a good idea.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we justify the heck out of it. That doesn't make it right. Like, yes, maybe it stopped the war, but it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it the right way to have done that. And it, like, yes, it prevented maybe it prevented deaths on our sides, but is it really worth the cost of all the people that died over there? Like,
but also, like,
but you'll have people that absolutely
black
say
and white
yes.
Yeah,
way of looking at that. They did drop the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to test the bombs.
Yeah,
like, and they always wanted into the war. Like Pearl Harbor, they were like, okay, finally we can join. Like, it's not.
I'm aware.
Like, no, but what I guess what I'm saying is, like, we can always say, oh, we're doing this as protection. We're doing it, but it's about power. It's absolutely about power. And when they introduced that to me, I was just like, totalitarian. Like, listen, he's literally like an African dictator. It's hilarious. And I hope he dies.
Okay. I feel like there is some precedent for needing something like Agent N if you have a society where you do not want to have the death penalty for people, for example, like Ace. But I do think that it should not be something that is up to, like, one council. I believe it is something that you should have the justice, like, it shouldn't be out on the streets. It's something you have the justice.
Be like,
the
patrol shouldn't have it.
Yeah. You have a justice system, and that is a consequence that is provided after a fair, balanced trial. Like, I can see how it can be used well.
But that's not what at all
not what they're
suggesting.
That's not what Evander wants. We can't talk any further than what's in the end of the book. Remember that. But that's not what Evander is talking about at the end of the book, I know. So
Captain Chromium, hashtag not my hero.
okay.
Hashtag not my president. Hashtag
You're not even American. Shut up.
Hashtag not my captain.
I was once going to major in American history, so I got a paper published about Civil War medicine. So I'm an honorary American right now for this discussion.
Why are you claiming that?
Because I know a lot about
Listen,
the Civil War.
I love my country, but that does not mean my country does not have serious flaws and issues that we do not want to confront in the name of nationalism. And nationalism is the disease. Okay, so here's an interesting question that is posed by this book. Are there, in fact, any good guys?
No.
Because we're all villains in the beginning.
Yes.
True fact.
And in the middle.
And in the middle. And the end.
The only true good guy is Nova McClane.
Who is not even real.
I don't. Yeah.
The only true good guy is Evie.
Unfortunately, she's dead.
She didn't have a chance to become bad.
Max.
Okay, no, actually, no, I agree. The only true good guy is Max. Max is a pure being, and I love him so much.
Because he's been raised in isolation away from society. Like, that's why he's good. He's never been on Tumblr. Like, that's it.
I'm dead.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think no. As a historian, I think that using binaries is not helpful and reductive. So no, I would say no.
Yeah, I agree. I think that terrible people are capable of amazing things. Yeah. Like history has proven that. Like, arguably, like the founding fathers of this country were terrible people because they thought that slavery was okay. And even the ones who did not think that slavery was okay waited until the end of their lives to say that.
Yeah, right.
Like George Washington did.
Billy.
What?
Oh, I'm just chiming in about George Washington. G-Wash, you know.
Yeah, I like that's like a lot of the founding fathers were against slavery, and yet they owned slaves. It's an interesting thing to find out. And they were not willing to take a stand because their pocketbook was on the line. Honestly, is probably what it came down to. Their prestige and their pocketbook was on the line. I also think that amazing, wonderful people are capable of terrible things. Like it takes one split second to do something terrible, and it's like we see that all the time in social media. And while like cancel culture is an issue because of that, because a person messes up one time without having a history, and so it's weaponized against those people instead of the people who have been messing up continually. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, can you think of our world right now if random people started getting superpowers? There's no good guys.
There are way too many white nationalists out there for that to even.
A good portion of them would be those people.
We don't need them with superheroes. Sorry.
They already have AK-47s.
Exactly.
The only good guy
is Captain America.
Real.
We would need a Captain America if everyone else got superheroes.
Exactly.
I would test Chris Evans with superpowers.
Oh yeah. So would I.
Like, I don't know. Would you actually, like, if you were given the choice, would you want do you want superhero powers? Would you?
Yes.
It would depend on the power, honestly.
Because if you think about it, like, not only is there, like, such a I don't know, like there probably would eventually become a terrible stigma against it because you would have this problem. But also, like, there's a huge responsibility. You are, like, now responsible for everyone else around you.
I disagree. I don't think you're inherently obligated to be a superhero if you have superpowers. Like,
Wow.
what about
Uncle Ben
like
just
rare
rolled
thing
over in his
guy?
grave. I said Uncle Ben just rolled over in his grave.
Uncle Ben got himself shot not once but twice in those movie adaptations. Boy didn't learn the first time.
Technically, he got himself shot 3 times because he's dead in the MCU as well. So We
You
just don't see
mean
it
the Sony cinematic universe?
We don't talk about that cinematic universe.
Uncle Ben can come for me.
okay.
Uncle
I
Ben
also-
on 3 p.m.
I would also
outside the
trust Bob
schoolyard.
Morley, who
Sorry?
plays Bob Morley, who plays Bellamy Blake on The 100. He is genuinely one of the great. Like, if he was not married, he would be on my list of celebrity crushes. But he is married now, so he is.
You
no
can still
longer.
have a crush on him.
Right, yeah.
Who doesn't want to bone Chris Hemsworth?
Not
Right.
me, because he's married. Like that drastically getting married drastically increases a man's attractiveness to me. Because I'm like, oh, you're off the market. Why waste my time on you?
This is a perfect world.
Right.
All right, so this brings up another interesting thing that I noticed, and then we'll start winding this down. But like, did you notice kind of this theme they have of the commodification of superheroes that's going on in this book?
Mhm.
That was so interesting.
Like all the capitalism about it,
Mm-hmm.
like all the merchandising. It was kind of disgusting.
Yeah.
I would be very uncomfortable with this.
Yeah.
I mean, it does lead to the hilarious moment of Adrian walking around with a giant plushie of his dad.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mad he gave it to some random kid because since Simon Westwood is Dick Grayson in my brain,
Oh God.
like he would have gotten a kick out of that. Like,
But it kind of reminds me of when Infinity War came out and a bunch of kids were running around with Thanos gauntlets. I was like, who the fuck is that kid? It was like that. It was disgusting.
I don't understand it.
Yeah. No, it was gross. I didn't like that part. I liked that she wrote it, but like I didn't like that aspect of society. I was like,
I was just like, my goodness, in my mind, they are Americans. Americans will put a price tag on anything.
oh, they're definitely Americans.
Yeah.
Like they definitely are.
Yeah.
There was no Tim Hortons.
Okay, so before we talk about that ending, do you guys have any favorite moments you want to talk about?
Oh, it's all in the second.
I will talk. Listen, they have one of the best meet cutes in the history of meet cutes. I love it. I love it because he catches someone stealing things, and it's great.
Fucking magpie.
I love it.
Little twit. Kicker. Like punter.
Listen, Christine, if Magpie had not existed, Adrian and Nova never would have met.
Yeah, they would have.
Yeah, they would have. Never
They
mind.
would have, yeah.
Also, the trial. The trial is definitely a high point because I like Janice's team being put in their place.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to happen more often.
I feel physical excitement anytime the Sentinel is involved because I like the Sentinel. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
speaking
also
of the
like
Sentinel,
when Nova ever like anytime like when they're on like the roof and stuff and she's like talking about her past, anytime she has an opportunity to talk about her trauma, I'm just like, you go, baby.
Yeah.
Like,
Come here. You need a hug.
yeah, exactly. Like people who would listen to her and like treat her softly like she needs.
mm-hmm. I love that moment they have in the office building when they're kind of talking about things. And like she gives him I think that's when she gives him kind of the sanitized version of her family history.
Oh, were they in an office?
They were in an office building.
I thought they were on a roof. I
did
didn't read
too, I think, the
setting
first
descriptions always.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I was like, wait, roof, wait.
Yeah, I'm like, all
Okay,
it's happened on a roof because one time in a movie it was on a roof.
Yeah, well, I mean, I read Batman, and like every important moment,
Everything happens on a roof.
happens on the roof.
Yep, see, that's where my brain was.
It's not a great place for some of those moments to
Really
happen,
not.
considering that your children can walk in on you. There are no doors on rooftops, and your kids are always on the rooftops. Bruce, really?
Who? They were kid. What?
I'll tell you later, Christine.
Okay. I'm confused.
I think she's talking about Batman.
I think we lost some of the thread here.
Okay, you have to have read Rooftops for this to make sense. But okay, any other favorite moments? Because I could go on about favorite moments until
Brianna.
I am blue on the face. Who? Oh, Brianna. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
there's no Brianna in this book.
No,
Brianna in this book.
I mean, like, there's not really a scene that like absolutely stands out to me, but like there were like moments more necessary. Like, does that make sense? I like the office. The office scene makes sense now that you said office. I was like, I don't remember a rooftop scene.
I had to go back and reread that description because I missed the fact that it was in the office too for a while. Because I just skipped fourth floor of an office building. I was like, oh, okay.
I'm just, yeah.
Why are there windows?
I don't always read full sentences. Like, are
Fair.
they? Is every word? Like, I don't know.
You just accidentally missed the important one, like an office building.
Yeah, I was like, they're on a stakeout. Got it.
That's so funny. Okay, so do you have anything to add, Brianna?
Nope.
Anything else you guys want to talk about before I go into to what I'm going to talk about for the end?
Dana sucks.
I agree
And
with
Evie's
you on
alive.
that, but my reasons are spoilers. Why do you keep typing in random numbers, Christine?
Because I was the first, third, and fourth person on that thing.
Well, fine. Hold on. I can't spell.
Oh, the other thing I want to add is that for anyone that just likes nonsense flirting, that's the whole second book.
Oh,
It's just, they're just like,
idiots in the second book.
I kind of like you, but like, I have a dark past.
that just
My
makes me want to
mom
read
is
it less.
dead.
Batman Catwoman like dynamic where like I want to be with you, but I know I shouldn't be, but I still want to be with you, and like I grew up on that. That is like honey to my lips.
Yeah. No.
They're such
It's
idiots.
kind of cute because they're children. If they were over the age of 20, I'd beat them with a pole. But
All right, so we're going to talk about the ending, and there are two things that are very interesting about the ending that I want to talk about. And the first is that final showdown between Detonator and between Ingrid and Nova, Detonator and Nightmare. I'm so intrigued by the fact that Nova has consistently been unable to pull the trigger until she kills Ingrid, who is an anarchist.
because
Like her-
Ingrid is an evil bitch and was gonna kill Adrian.
That too. But
And like a lot of other
people.
Yeah. But like
Well, I
mostly
mean, I think-
Adrian, because the rest of them didn't have names and mean nothing to me.
True facts.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brianna.
I think that definitely probably plays into the whole her probably having PTSD.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
And
that's
not being
definitely
able-
a symptom of her PTSD.
Yeah, because I mean that's
500%.
I also think it might kind of be foreshadowing because I think it's significant that the fact that when she finally is able to kill someone and pull that trigger,
it's an
it's an
anarchist.
anarchist.
Yeah.
Like, because I remember reading, like, as a child, she wasn't able to pull the trigger, and then when you see her trying to kill Captain Chromium, she wasn't able to pull the trigger. I was like, this is going to be an important point.
But
Mhm.
when it's important, she will be able to kill Captain Chromium because he's the villain.
I don't think there are any true villains in this except, like,
I
Ingrid.
don't. Well, I think they're all villains.
Yeah, but like
See what I
in
just
the
did there?
beginning, yes. In the middle, Yes.
I mean, they're all so morally gray that I don't know that there's.
Wait, no, not Oscar.
I think the idea that like these superheroes are above, like because they are superheroes, they are morally superior, needs to die. That is the thing that needs to die. Not necessarily Captain Chromium if he wants to come around.
Oh,
okay?
he physically needs to die. He is so
We're no longer friends. We are no longer friends. He reminds me of Clark Kent so much.
Well, Clark Kent.
Don't you dare.
Christina, I think you would really like The Boys. You really need to watch that.
Don't you dare. Clark Kent is one of the purest beings to have ever existed outside of like Red Sun and the few storylines where he's
Red Sun's so good though.
It is. I haven't read it, but I read part of it and I never finished it. But it was a good story.
You're telling me you haven't read Red Sun? I've read Red Sun. You haven't read Red Sun? Batman's in it.
No, wait.
It's the only Batman comic I've ever read.
Because it's not okay. That's right. Because it's not that like in Red Sun. Okay, so if you don't know, in Red Sun, like it's Superman landed in Russia, and then he gets married to somebody, and they have a son, and their world explodes, and they send him off, and so it's basically like the kid they send off is our Superman.
No, wait.
It's not really, but like that's kind of how they play it up.
No. Lex Luthor's son is.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
they
right.
defeat Superman.
It's been a long time since I've read Red Sun. I was like, I
thought you just said you didn't read Red
Sun. No, because I remembered I'd read the ending. I was like, I think I read part of it and didn't finish it, and then I remembered I did finish it.
It's so good. It's my favorite, actually.
My favorite is Batman Hush. Okay,
well, I've read 2 DC comics, so actually Watchmen is my favorite. Never mind.
I haven't read that one yet. We're gonna fix that, Christine. We're gonna we're gonna fix that for you.
Oh my god. Okay.
We're gonna fix that for you. I feel like you would like Dick Grayson. I said I feel like you would like Dick Grayson.
Well, I feel like you would like Watchmen.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of stuff about it having a lot of misogyny in it.
I would have thought Ozymandias.
So, anyways, so the final thing we have to talk about is that reveal at the end with Ace Anarchy not being dead.
I mean, I actually genuinely didn't see it coming, but then also I was like, oh, he's Magneto, so like, of course. But he's a shit Magneto. My husband Magneto is so much better than Ace Anarchy. I love Magneto.
I'm concerned for your mental state because Magneto was a problem in the comics sometimes. Christine, please stop.
That's how I feel about Magneto. I love Magneto.
It is interesting. He is probably the closest to an X-Men type hero that they have.
He has the fucking helmet.
He has the helmet, but he has completely different powers. Like he doesn't just affect metal; he affects it. He's like Jean Grey if he made his male and had the power of the Phoenix. So
Magneto can also like move the earth and stuff. So like, there's some things Magneto can't do that Ace can, but their powers are very similar.
Very, very.
And they wear a helmet.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. And I see why people are like, oh, this seems like X-Men when they look at him. Like, somebody was like, oh, this is just basically discount X-Men. I was like, oh my gosh, do you only read Marvel? Because this is so much more than that, and you have missed a bunch of other Easter eggs.
And it's not discount X-Men, it's commentary.
Yes. So, I know, Brianna, you said you don't really feel strongly about it.
I really didn't. I mean, it was like I got there and then it was like, oh yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just like saw it as being set up for the next book. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, like. So I remember being
really shocked by it, but I didn't figure it out. Like I figured it out as we were leading up, as she goes down to the tunnel. I think, but he wasn't. Not dead. I was like, why is she so obsessed with this helmet? And I was like, what? Because like I feel like the helmet should not be useful without Ace's powers. They don't really tell you what the helmet does.
But wouldn't it amplify anybody's powers?
I don't know that they tell you if I don't know that they tell you what it does in the first book. I
That's
don't know what
my,
they tell
that's
you
my
about it.
prediction for book 3 is that she'll put on the helmet and just be fucking insane.
Put the whole city to sleep.
Yeah. Why
Nice.
not? Bring Evie back from the dead.
Okay. I would be worried about what would happen. Okay, that could play into interesting. What if like Hugh put the helmet on? I would be interested to see what would happen if he did.
Kill him!
They'd be screwed.
Yes, yes. Okay, the fact that you say that they would be screwed if he put on the helmet means that you know that he's an insidious force.
I know that he could be very dangerous if he decided not to use his powers for good. Like that's one of the interesting things about Superman to me is that like he could be completely and totally evil and have all the power in the world, and he chooses to not. He chooses to be Clark Kent. He chooses to be a good person.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing. Hugh's pretending.
Okay.
Because he doesn't play like, he doesn't choose to live modestly or live like a regular person. He's in his fucking mansion with his like trophy husband, and he's like, fuck everybody that's below me. I'm gonna take your powers away. I'm gonna be the top bitch. No Sentinel on my watch.
I feel like, considering the fact that he and Simon grew up and had to deal with probably utter poverty and having to hide, I can't really fault him for wanting to have the biggest house. And I also...
No, but I'm not saying he's not Clark Kent. Like, he's definitely
he's not. He is not Clark Kent.
He doesn't try to make himself equal.
True. I think that's a problem, though, with the Renegades in general, is that they don't try to make themselves equal. They have put themselves above.
Yes.
Well, I think that's just a historical thing. Like they've been at the top for so long at this point.
Well, I think
there's a superior class.
Yeah. I think it also comes down to the fact that like they're at the top because if they put non-prodigies at the top, could they trust the non-prodigies not to turn around and start persecuting prodigies again? It's like that kind of that kind of like somebody was talking about the fact that a lot of women want power so that no one can have power over them and hurt them with that power. Like that's why. So I have a feeling that kind of leads into that. So all right, I think
tribal warfare almost.
Somewhat, yes.
This keeps coming back to post-colonial Africa. Wow.
Okay. So is there anything else you want to talk about before I announce what the next round of Vault-a-thons? Like I have some announcements regarding the next round of Vault-a-thon, and I will be telling everyone what the group book and movie is going to be. But anything else we want to discuss?
No.
No? We're good? All right. So round 2's movie is going to be
Oh, she freezes.
She freezes. maybe try that again.
Am I back? Am I back?
You're back now.
It's going to be Treasure Planet. Which is one of my favorite movies from my childhood. Like, I still like that soundtrack. Disney has not, like... It's one of the classic Disney soundtracks, guys. Like... So, in the kind of theme of having these classical retellings in space, our book, I was going to go with a slightly different theme, but then I realized there was a book that I already knew I wanted us to read because I love this book. We are going to be reading another classic retelling in space, which is Brightly Burning. This is a retelling. I want
to read that.
It's so good. Like, it is so good. I have her new book too. I love her so much. Oh shoot! I need to email. I have a copy of her new book for Alyssa J from Books with Alyssa J. Is one I need to remember. Somebody remind me to mail that.
Oh, she's Canadian too.
I know she is. I have a lot of friends that are Canadian and from up north, and it's annoying.
We're good, eh?
So this is a retelling of Jane Eyre, which means I probably should reread Jane Eyre. But and so I figured we would stick to that kind of vague theme of retelling in space. And I also love this book, and it has a gorgeous cover.
I'm reading Jane Eyre right now, so that's perfect.
Oh wow, this is perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
As for when Vault-a-thon is going to happen, I'm looking at sometime in November. However, I'm going to have a poll on once I have it up, I will put it in the description box. Oh, excuse me. I'm looking at either the second or third weekend of November because I don't want to go into the Christmas season because there's like a gajillion Christmas themed readathons, but I still want to have one more round this year. So I wasn't sure if, like, I'm gonna have a poll on Twitter, like which week would be better for everyone to be able to participate. Because I know
What day's Remembrance Day this year? Because I'm always really grumpy that day.
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay, let's not make the live show Remembrance Day if I'm involved, because I'll just be bitching the whole time.
Speaking of, if you like space pirates or classics or retellings or anything that is involved with either the book or the movie, the link for the co-host application is down in the description box. So, like, just if you would like to have a chance to be on the screen talking about Disney movies and books, like these glamorous, lovely ladies, go ahead, fill out the application. I will be choosing people later.
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 Keep your eyes open, because I will have all of the prompts and all of that announced for round 2 here coming up soon in October. Just depends on when the readathon is actually going to be. So I'm going to let these lovely ladies say goodbye to everyone, and then I will sign us off.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Evie's alive.
Oh my god!